The Chicago Sky didn't just trade AngelReese, they erased her like she never mattered. And the most shocking part isn't even the trade itself, it's what happened immediately after. This wasn't a rebuild, this wasn't a reset, this was a full-blown prison break from chaos, and the front office didn't even try to hide it. 1 minute you've got a 23-year-old all-star, a double-double machine, one of the most marketed faces in the league, and the next minute she's gone for what insiders are calling the basketball equivalent of pocket change, and within days, Chicago flips the entire narrative by stacking elite-level talent like they've been waiting for this exact moment to strike. That doesn't happen by accident. Teams don't suddenly become attractive overnight unless something toxic was removed. And that's exactly the story being whispered behind the scenes, not about stats, not about talent, but about tension, ego, and a locker room that reached its breaking point. Because while the public saw rebounds and headlines, insiders saw something very different: friction, disconnect, and a player who didn't just walk into a team, she walked in like she owned it. And that's where everything started to crack. The comments about teammates, the subtle shots, the lack of accountability, these weren't just moments, they were warning signs stacking up until the organization had no choice but to make a decision that looked crazy on paper but made perfect sense internally. And when a franchise reaches the point where they're willing to take less value just to move on faster, that tells you everything. They weren't trading a player. They were buying back control of their own team. And the scariest part? The second she was gone, everything changed. Free agents didn't hesitate. Talent didn't question. Players didn't second-guess. They chose Chicago, fast, confidently, and without looking back. That's not normal. That's not luck. That's a message. And whether fans want to accept it or not, that message is loud. The sky didn't fall apart after losing Reese, they unlocked something. Meanwhile, the backlash online exploded into pure chaos, fans demanding jersey retirements, calling her a franchise icon, acting like Chicago just let go of a legend, while the organization did the exact opposite, handing her number away almost immediately like they were closing a chapter they didn't even want to remember. That kind of move isn't disrespect, it's finality. It's a statement that says, we're done, and we're not looking back. And for someone who believed she was the face, the future, the centerpiece, that kind of silence hits louder than any press conference ever could. And then came the response, the moment everything went from dramatic to downright unbelievable. AngelReese didn't just react, she doubled down, calling herself the GOAT of Chicago, a claim so bold, so detached from reality, that it instantly divided the entire basketball world. Because GOATs don't get traded for scraps. GOATs don't leave behind locker rooms filled with relief. GOATs don't get replaced overnight by players who immediately elevate the team's chemistry and credibility. That statement wasn't confidence, it was defiance mixed with disbelief, the reaction of someone who expected the world to pause when she left, only to watch it speed up instead. And now, all eyes shift to Atlanta, where the real test begins. Because talent isn't the question, it never was. The question is fit, chemistry, and whether the same issues that quietly pushed Chicago to the edge will resurface in a new environment that's already built around established stars. This isn't just a fresh start, it's a pressure cooker. Because if things click, she rewrites the narrative completely. But if they don't, then Chicago's decision won't just look justified, it'll look inevitable. And on the other side, the Sky are moving forward like a team reborn. Faster, sharper, more unified, building a system that actually makes sense, where roles don't clash and egos don't collide. That contrast is what makes this entire situation so fascinating. It's not just about one player leaving, it's about what happens when a team removes friction and replaces it with purpose. One side is chasing redemption. The other is chasing results. And as the season unfolds, every rebound, every possession, every reaction from teammates will be analyzed under a microscope. Because this isn't just a trade story anymore, it's a prove-it storyline, and only one side is going to come out looking right. And if you think the story ends there, you're missing the most dangerous part of all, because what's coming next isn't just about performance, it's about exposure. The moment the new season tips off, Every single possession involving AngelReese in Atlanta is going to be dissected like evidence in a trial. Not just her stats, her body language, her reactions, how teammates respond to her, who celebrates with her, who doesn't. Because once a narrative like this breaks into the open, it doesn't fade, it hunts for confirmation. And that's where the pressure becomes suffocating. In Chicago, the tension was internal, controlled, whispered. In Atlanta, it's going to be loud, visible, and impossible to ignore. Because now she's not just playing to win, she's playing to prove an entire organization wrong, to silence insiders, to validate her own belief that she was never the problem. But basketball doesn't lie. Chemistry doesn't fake itself over time. And locker rooms don't magically fix themselves just because the jersey changed. If anything, the stakes are even higher now, because Atlanta didn't just acquire a player, they inherited a reputation. And whether that reputation is real or exaggerated, it's going to be tested immediately against a team dynamic that already has its own hierarchy, its own leaders, its own identity. And if there's even the slightest crack, one moment of visible frustration, one miscommunication, one stretch where the offense stalls, the noise will explode again, louder than ever, because people aren't watching to be convinced, they're watching to be proven right. At the same time, Chicago is quietly building something that looks less like recovery and more like revenge through success. Because nothing silences controversy faster than winning, and right now, the Sky are positioning themselves to do exactly that, not by chasing headlines, but by assembling a roster that actually fits together. Spacing, defense, experience, leadership, the kind of structure that doesn't just survive pressure, it thrives in it. And here's the part that should make everyone pause. They did all of this immediately after moving on. No hesitation, no uncertainty, no signs of regret. That kind of decisiveness only comes from one place, absolute clarity behind the scenes. And when a franchise reaches that level of certainty, it becomes dangerous. Because now every move is intentional, every piece has a purpose, and every player stepping into that locker room understands the standard. There's no confusion anymore. No divided energy. Just direction. And that's why this entire situation feels bigger than a trade, it feels like a turning point. One player fighting to reclaim control of her narrative, and one organization proving they never lost control in the first place. And as this season unfolds, the truth is going to reveal itself in the only way that matters, not through interviews, not through social media, but through results. Because in the end, the game always exposes what words try to hide, and when that moment comes, there won't be any debates left, just a very clear answer to who was right all along. And now the story shifts into its most brutal phase, the phase where reputation meets reality, and where every claim, every rumor, every emotional narrative gets stress-tested under the pressure of actual competition. Because at this level, nothing survives on talk alone. If Atlanta is truly the perfect fit, it has to show on the floor immediately, not in flashes, not in highlights, but in sustained chemistry where every possession flows without hesitation. That means screens have to connect, rotations have to make sense, and most importantly, the ball cannot stop every time tension rises. Because the moment an offense becomes stagnant, the spotlight doesn't just land on missed shots, it lands on relationships. Who passed, who didn't? Who ran back, who didn't? Who looked frustrated, who stayed composed? And in environments like this, those micro-moments become magnified into full-blown narratives. If Atlanta struggles even slightly, the conversation won't be about adjustment, it will immediately shift back to the same storyline that followed her out of Chicago, whether fair or not. That's how fast momentum works in modern sports discourse. One bad stretch becomes proof. One miscommunication becomes pattern. One loss becomes warning sign. And suddenly, the entire situation gets rewritten in real time by people who were already waiting for cracks to appear. That's the pressure she walks into now, not just performing, but constantly defending the perception of her presence on the court.